Here's some fresh perspective for you. Feel free to take notes. This is wisdom from the great beyond. Let's hit it. Choose to see life through your heart and soul, not your eyes. The eyes and ears become useless when the mind is blind. Your heart and soul have light engraved in them. You'll realize there's endless possibilities. I'm going to say it one more time. Choose to see life through your heart and soul, not your eyes. The eyes and ears become useless when the mind is blind. Your heart and soul have light engraved in them. You'll realize there's endless possibilities. Here's a little information, just random notes I wrote about children are caring for children and protecting their fragile developing minds is very important to me and a passion of mine. So randomly I'm going to insert, I talk about the nervous system so much because it is very important how you develop as a child. It does wire you for adulthood. It wires your development in your nervous system, your brain, how your brain works and everything. So it's not necessarily that people are blaming others. We just want to stress the importance of changing your mentality and developing emotionally regulating tactics is to your well-being overall, and how a healthy environment where people are talking to each other like they love each other instead of screaming, yelling, cussing, shaming, insults. We treat each other with care and understanding. Connection. Everything is done through connection. And this is for the people who do scream and yell at their children. That says a lot about how you deal with your own emotions. If you can't even control yourself. If you are an emotionally reactive person, you need to check yourself. Why are you having children if you can't even regulate your own emotions or control your temper? Why? You don't want someone screaming and yelling at you. How is anybody supposed to learn in that type of environment if every time you talk to a child you're screaming and yelling at them and insulting them, shaming them? Abusing your authority as a parent is disgusting. If your child stops crying after you shame them, threaten them, yell at them, or spank them, then you're teaching them to shut down. You must teach them how to regulate. I can see if you don't know how to regulate why yelling is your go-to. Please grow into an adult. Calming down only happens in the process of connection. We need care and empathy. Like, seriously. It's really disgusting. Like, I'm understanding how sometimes you can get overstimulated and show frustration and things like that. I'm just talking about how every time you talk to your kids, you're not just being like, hey, can we keep the food in here in the kitchen? Or, hey, you need to sit at the table with that. Why must you scream and yell at them and cuss at them? How you speak to them is how they form their language. How you treat them is how they're going to be. So if you treat them like trash and speak to them like what do you think you're going to get? You're going to get disobedience. You're going to get emotionally reactive children who you're setting them up for failure by not giving them a voice and a chance to be heard. I saw a post that I thought was really good. It's a really good message forward. Like I said, I'm just holding up a mirror. If you don't like what's being reflected back to you, you have the power to change it. Here's a post that says, when you wish it were different, you can see how it is. There's a line in the, and I might be saying this incorrectly, Tao De Ching, that says, truth waits for eyes unclouded by longing. It's your, as you clear the mist of desire from your mirror, you start to reflect things as they are. I'm going to say it again. When you wish it were different, you can't see how things are, or you can't see how it is. There's a line in the Tao Te Ching that says, truth waits for eyes unclouded by longing. As you clear the mist of desire from your mirror, you start to reflect things as they are. I thought that was pretty beautiful. Speaking of anger, yelling and screaming, we shouldn't be walking on eggshells due to your anger. It's a form of verbal and emotional abuse. We must dissect our triggers to dismantle the intensity of our emotions behind them. Figure out why they are here, where it stems from. Then rewrite the anger. Shift it somewhere. It's there for a reason. Like I said, it's parts of you that have felt unheard, sadness that has nowhere to go. Feel it. See what's up. Figure it out. Unpack it. It is your responsibility as an adult to do that. It is your responsibility to correct, to become aware of your miswirings and your glitches and to correct them for discipline and self-control. If we are emotionally reactive, we miss out on internal guidance. You're not going to be able to hear your faith, the grace, the understanding, and the wisdom that's trying to come through. Here's an example of a trigger. Emotionally reactive people. Like, people who are just really hypersensitive to cleanliness. And I'm not saying be filthy dirty. I'm just saying, like, for example, people who, like dishes in the sink could be a trigger. In the kitchen not cleaned up right away after the day, or when that person wants it done. And that person begins to mumble rude comments, slam, when they open and shut things, they're slamming things around, just complaining the whole time, slamming stuff, being just as loud, throwing a tantrum. And it's like, I used to take that energy on, and it used to really, really get under my skin because I just didn't understand why I do things and just do them. Like, I know it's a part of everyday life. I don't walk around and be like, well, I put your laundry in the dryer because you left it there. I'm not confrontational like that. Like, I just feel like, okay, I see something needs to be done, I'm just going to do it. I don't need to, like, be like, oh, by the way, like, throw it in their face and, like, keep a tally on every little thing you do for them. It's hyper annoying. And, like, I've quietly always just done things and never said a word my whole life. You know what I mean? Done the dishes, clean up the kitchen, sweep the floors, do my own laundry, things like that. And, like, take care of myself. And I never, I just didn't understand the irritation and the annoyance of having to do everyday tasks that when you wake up every day you're going to have to do them. To get mad about it is weird to me. It's little stuff. It'll get done. People have rough days. It just seems like they just have a problem every time they have to do something. It's like, can you just do it? It's like, okay, without all the negativity and hostility. And rewrite the anger as the person. I'm talking to the person who is emotionally reactive and who throws little baby fits over every little thing. Obviously, each day there will be tasks to complete. Life is mostly repetitive. Accept it. Do you want to use your energy to be productive or to be upset? Put on music. You get to set the tone for what you do each day. And then the person dealing with the reactive person, their rewrite is, it's not your responsibility to calm others. Walk away. Allow them space to be. Stay away until they are regulated. They should be learning how to maintain their own anger. It's not necessarily a responsibility. Like I said, it is your responsibility. But at the same time, you can help each other. Hey, I'm having a hard time processing this. I'm feeling a lot of anger. I'm not sure how to sort this out. Can we sort this out together? Not a problem. I can help. I'm right there. Blowing up at each other, being explosive. No, you gotta, you don't want somebody to be afraid of how you'll react. That's not cool. Not for anybody. Anyway, if, walk away, allow them space to be, stay away until they are regulated. They should be learning how to maintain their own anger. If they aren't trying, then reevaluate your connection. No one wants to deal with someone who freaks out over everything. Everything isn't an emergency like they act like it is. When your emotions are high and it's like an anxiety, it's like right now you need everything's right now. You need to be able to slow your mind down. Like, you need to just learn how to just be like, take one thing at a time. What's first up? That's your worry. Rewrite it. You have to go to the store. Just focus on what you're there to get and get out. No one should be afraid of how you'll react. You should be a safe place. You want to be a safe place for others to be open to sharing how they feel. And again, that comes back to raising awareness. Then just certain things won't be an issue. Another example of a trigger and how to rewrite the anger. Big, huge trigger for me is hearing about, sexual assault, seeing predators or molesters. How I rewrite my anger is I speak up loud and proud against it. I see something, I say something, I do something. I'm, working on changing how predators are handled in the justice system is how I deal with it. I hold faith in my power for real justice one day. I want to be a light for others. That no matter what has happened to you, you can still become a force. No one took your power. No. You can get control back. You can do anything you put your mind to. Learn your defense. Learn how to fight. Whatever you feel you need to do, become stronger. Do it. And like I said, there's so many things you can do to cleanse that filth that you feel off of you. Self-love, pouring into yourself, looking at yourself, admiring the beautiful creation that you are. That's what I do. I tend to kind of stare at myself too when I'm recording myself. I get distracted because I'm just in awe of myself. Like, I am coming to life. I'm going to get stronger. I'm going to do all the things that I've been dying to do. I just know it. I'm going to keep pushing, holding my faith. And when I feel weak, allow my faith to carry me. Anyway, the moral of his testimony is allow others to have the reactions they choose. You don't need to join their energy battling it out. Hold your energy. Don't join others in a reactive frame of mind. You hold the power for discipline and control. I want to talk about moving on real quick before I move on to a couple posts I want to talk about before I get to part 2 of my police history. Saw a post come across and it says, I've seen it circulate around for quite some time, and I usually try to let, scroll past stuff, but I feel like this is part of what my show is too, is offering fresh perspective and shining light on things that, are controversial and, I do feel like are wrong. It said, it was on the back of like a truck, and it said, "My life matters. A lot of people on welfare counting on me." And my first perspective is, people in poverty aren't your enemy. Ask yourself why people getting resources they need, why do people getting resources they need bother you so much? And it's like, and it's like, why are you mad at people who are getting the welfare anyway? It's like, at the end of the day, if people were paid their worth, welfare and Section 8 and the government assistance it's a prison sentence. It's not like it's supposed to, there should be a way for you to be weaned off. And it's like, if you work, obviously you're not going to be on welfare, but it's still not that much. So I don't know why people are tripping. It's still not enough to even really thrive off of. And I only know that because I did try to apply for it when I got my accident, but they want you to do all this like work program or whatever, which wouldn't have been a problem, but I couldn't physically work. So and so, like I said, it's not so, there's so many gray areas, and it's like, yeah, people abuse it, and, shame on them. And, there are people that just have kids just for the benefits, and it's like, yeah, shame on them, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for the people who do need it, and that's what we're going to pray for. We're just going to keep praying that the people who need it get it. That's what we're going to pray for. What we're going to try to do is promote what we love instead of what we hate. But in order to get there, we do need to expose the foolery. And the foolery is people mad at people in poverty, period. Do you not even understand that nobody, not even you with a college degree, is getting paid your worth? Everybody's being exploited and manipulated into believing a legal Ponzi scheme is a way of life. They are manipulating you with taxes. Yes, everybody should contribute to society and pay, but it's like you don't even need to do that when the whole entire system should be designed to replenish life, not just fill empty desires and fill people's pockets. That's not what this planet is for. Sorry, it's not. Newsflash, I'm here to tell you, it is going to change. As long as I'm here speaking, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. This foolery is repetitive, so I'm going to be repetitive about it. People in poverty are not your enemy. And if you can't see outside of your limited perspective, then I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for your eyes to be open, because everybody's being exploited into believing that we need to work till our last breath before you can enjoy life. That is not, no. $1 million homes, no. Sorry, shouldn't be a thing. Like I said, it's all going to change. It may seem crazy. You can call me delusional all you want, but it's all going to come crashing down, because you know why? Main thing, I'm going to tell you. Be mad. Taxes are proof of exploitation and oppressed wages in a made-up economy that doesn't have to exist. Humans created it and control it. Like, are you serious? They control it and they created it. The economy is false. Again, because the resources to survive and profit off of come from the earth. So there's really technically not supposed to be the profit. The profit is the replenishment and the evolution of our people on this planet. And creating ways to work towards a more sustainable way of life, not technology. Not advancing our technology for what? We should be able to move a little more freely. It's not supposed to cost to, border patrol and all that stuff. Like, I'm not saying that, obviously, I'm not saying we don't need enforcers. We don't need the government and a president and the checks and balances. The checks and balances system work that they created in the voting, we wouldn't be in such turmoil right now if it really worked. There's so many other ways to construct a sustainable way of life. But like I said, the corporations are a huge problem. And I'm going to be their problem. Believe it. So I'm going to share this piece I wrote. It's about some health information I received recently. I went in I take this medication. It's helps me regulate, and they do some lab work because you can be known to gain weight on this medication, and they just want to check your organ function and levels, cholesterol and all that stuff, glucose. Well, I gained 10 pounds, and my lab work came back off the charts. Instead of shaming myself into a deep depression, I decided to talk to myself like someone I love so I can come up with a game plan moving forward. And like usually I would like really shut down, and I would just shame myself so bad, and I would just be so depressed, and like I probably wouldn't eat. I would just completely, my nervous system would shut down, and I would just tear myself apart for days, months, who knows. And I would just be a mess. And then finally one day I would pull myself out of it and I would be regulated. But it's like, what's different this time is removing the repeated shaming cycle. I went straight to evolution. That's still a win all around for me. Like I didn't even shame myself. I just said, all right, we gotta become more active. You know you can do it. I've been doing more strength training at physical therapy, and I've been able to do it. And like this week, this week and stuff, I pushed myself, and I like pretty much walked and stood for like 45 minutes one day, and another day was like an hour, even though my leg after was so hurtful and I'm sore and stuff like that. I know it's just because it has been the most physical activity I've had, and I got to keep doing it, or I really have to push myself. I'm really going to be pushing myself these next 6 weeks. They're very important. And so I got to stay focused. So if I'm not making as many videos, it's because I'm focused on my health, because I've got to get everything back in control, because I was like internally spiraling and not even realizing it. Anyway, I gained 10 pounds back, and my lab work came back off the charts. Instead of shaming myself into a deep depression, I decided to talk to myself like someone I love so I can come up with a game plan moving forward. Shaming does nothing for you. It's a waste of time. Try to skip it. What's different this time? Removing the repeated shaming cycle, I went straight to evolution. That's still a win all around. Even though I gained 10 pounds, I know I'm going to lose it again. Shifting your mentality does work. Time to step it up several notches. Watch me work. My lab work explains why I've been wanting to sleep more. My body has been telling me something isn't right, and it's time for a change, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I would eat a high-protein diet with fruit, and I was doing fine. I guess what I stopped doing, though, I began not eating as much, because I did become paranoid about gaining a bunch of weight. I stopped liking eating. I just felt like everything was going to make me fat. And like I said, I didn't realize I was doing this. I was just subconsciously suppressing my appetite. And obviously with me not eating as much, it just kind of fed the paranoia about gaining weight. And I wasn't as active either, because I had little to no extra fuel to burn. My body began absorbing everything rapidly. I would eat barely enough to get me through the day. And I stopped liking food. I didn't want to eat. I liked my smoothie though. And, I wasn't drinking my water as much either. I don't know why. I can't tell you why. I guess I was just, and I said, now look at me. Like I said, my cholesterol was really high. And I had like really low good cholesterol. So I'm like, okay, all right, we're not gonna stress about it. We're just gonna do something about it. We see something, we say something, come up with a plan, and then we do something. And a shaming cycle could last for months and months. Doing the work will save you time in the future. Start now. Seriously. And I still love myself. Gained 10 pounds, but I still love myself. I still feel sexy as ever. I'm not going to let little 10 pounds drag me down. Like I said, I'm just going to utilize these next 6 weeks and kick butt. I do want to share this piece before I move on to my, because I'm already at 30 minutes. My bad. Something that came to my mind, and it just, like I said, I just like saying things to get people's mind going, just to give them like a fresh perspective or like another perspective to kind of ease up on this war against men and women. I think it's just sad to feel like men and women are just trying to fight for the highest value, and it's like, you guys are both equally valuable. I don't understand why the demand for superiority is so obsessive and they're oblivious to it. So I'm here to point it out. Curious, who said it's the man's responsibility to be a provider only? Why are men deemed the pursuers only? It goes both ways. I want the person that I'm choosing to spend life with to know exactly how I feel about them. I love you. I appreciate you. I cherish you. When you're not around, I cry for you. Like I said, why are men deemed the pursuers only? It goes both ways. And I don't really care to hear about women or people in general calling men crazy or feminine for wanting to be loved by someone. Like, what? Why does men wanting to be shown appreciation to make them feminine? Take a look at yourself, because that doesn't even sound right. How's somebody supposed to be your soft, safe place if you don't offer them a soft, safe place to land and feel and be? Everybody has emotions. Like I said, we're supposed to use our thinking abilities at different times for different reasons. Because again, we all have a human mind that can get overstimulated, or like I said, we're not necessarily in control of how our body reacts to things. We are only in control of how we react to those reactions. So anyway, moving on. Let's start over, because I'm going to try to read this whole thing through so I can stay focused. Curious, who said it's the man's responsibility to be a provider only? Why are men deemed the pursuers only? It goes both ways. Where did this idea originate from? God? If you really think about it, the thought men are the sole providers is merely an assumption society adopted as a mentality. Newsflash, we are both equally important for different reasons. We are supposed to be providers leading each other at different times. We are supposed to be thinking together as a team. This leading crap is superior. We have different thinking abilities for a reason. It's called balance for a reason. I'm going to say it again. We are supposed to be thinking together as a team. We have different thinking abilities for a reason. It's called balance for a reason. You can keep your submissive mentality all you want. We are all capable of being a provider when the other has fallen. Just admit you don't want to be responsible for being one and let it be that. You don't have to strip someone of their value just because you've adopted a false mentality that men provide for you while you sit making everything pretty. I'm playing devil's advocate here, attempting to spark the mind. If you have issue with my words. You simply don't like what's being reflected back to you. I feel like y'all demand a finished product instead of wanting to be a part of the process. That's what it boils down to. I'm not saying, like, listen, if you got drive, determination, faith, a plan, vision, baby, you got so much to work with. You don't even understand. I'm going to show you. We can work with that. Let's do this. Because that's one thing about me. I'm not afraid to start over. Because I've tried to create everything from the ground up by myself with my blood, sweat, and tears, and my physical labor, financial labor myself. Like you know what I'm saying? I've tried to build a team. I think I got it, hey, I'm working on it. And like I said, it's going to work out. Regardless, my faith is strong. I'm going to finish up with the part 2 of my history with law enforcement. So, I didn't finish my story of what first really ignited my faith journey back in 2017. When I got arrested and I was in jail, I was in the worst jail, one of the worst jails you could be in. And I was just praying hard. I said, if you get me out of this, get me out of here. I will never drink again. And I was going to keep my promise. And I had the money to bail myself out. And so I was just waiting on, that to process through. And I went to see the nurse. Next thing I know, my name's getting called for release. And the lady that's taking me out, she looked at me and she's like, who are you? And I was like, what do you mean? She's like, I've never seen anybody get on a DOC list that quickly before. And I was like, I don't know. I said, I just prayed really hard that if I got out of this, then I would correct my ways. And that's exactly what I did. I stopped drinking, stopped doing everything. Trouble kept finding me until my issues got the best of me again, and like 10 months later. But anyway, listen, I was on my best behavior. I was given a breathalyzer. I had to blow into like 3 to 5 times a day. And so I started having issues with it. It kept testing me positive. I was actually green. I was good for the longest time. And then it was like, I think, I can't remember when it started messing up, but it would say I was drinking, and I wasn't. Listen, they gave you a list of stuff not to use when you're on it. I follow that list to a T. I even stopped using deodorant, okay? Mouthwash, you name it. And I got violated. And I was just telling them, they're like, just tell us the truth. And I'm like, I am telling you the truth. I understand that people lie to you all the time, but I'm not lying to you. And, and it was very stressful. Every time I would have to use it, I would be so stressed out. I was so glad when I was done with that. Well, finally, it kept testing me positive, and I said, if it's going to keep saying I'm drinking, I might as well drink. So yes, I did drink. And I got violated again. And, told the judge what happened, and he actually believed me. I can't remember. I think I got just more time on the breathalyzer. So, I eventually got out of there. Oh, real quick. It was kind of funny. this is how strong prayer is. So when I was in the jail, the rumor was that it was going around that I killed my baby in the hospital, and that's why I was in jail. All because I had a hospital robe on, because they had to cut my clothes off when they shocked my heart and stuff. Oh, and the officer I tried to talk to that night when he opened up the door, he's like, it smells like a fucking brewery in here. And I was like, I hadn't been drinking on my way home, but I probably, because I did consume a lot of alcohol the night before, but I thought sleeping it off, I would be fine. Obviously, I still had a lot in my system, but that adrenaline, I'm telling you, is a mofo. And I was trying to tell him, I was trying to explain to him, I'm sorry, but I was trying to get away from him. And he's like, I don't give a fuck about any of that. You shut up and you blow into this. Well, if you have a head injury, which I did, because my head was bleeding, my forehead was messed up a little bit from hitting the windshield. I didn't have my seatbelt on. I don't know how I didn't fly through the windshield, but I didn't. My head hit it. Had a big indent of my head in the windshield. And so when I blew into the breathalyzer, my body went into shock, and that's when I kicked the bucket the first time. But here I am. And so, like I said, my disgust for authority just grew and grew and grew, because like I would have to keep going down there. They would keep telling me to come down there, and then they wouldn't even really want nothing. I kept having to call off work and come down, just wasting my time. And then like one time I showed up, and the officer, the lady, I did not like her. I did not like this lady. And she did not like me, and that was totally fine. But she acted like I wasn't there. I saw her. I was like, hey, miss, how you doing today? So I'm waiting on her to call me back. She never called me back. They said I never showed up. How you going to mark me as a no-show, and you walked right past me and ignored me, and I was sitting in your lobby anyway? So I went up to the front desk, and I told them, and I guess I ended up getting another caseworker. This was like towards the end of my, I was on house arrest at this point. I was on house arrest and a breathalyzer. That's right, because I got sentenced. And so they kept wasting my time. That damn house arrest bracelet, oh my God, that was so stressful. And finally I told them, I was like, look, they kept wasting my time. And I went down there for the one time. It was the last time they pissed me off. And I went off on the lady I was talking to. I was like, I didn't really go off on her. I ain't cussing nothing, but I was just telling them like how much they wasted my time. They want payment, but I can't. If I'm working and I'm spending money on Ubers because I can't drive, how am I ever going to be able to pay you guys if you guys keep wasting my time? I said, I'm not coming back down here until I'm done on house arrest. It was like a couple weeks left. And sure as shit, they gave me an appointment on the day to be released. They left me alone. I couldn't believe it. But I was like, y'all not about to keep wasting my time. And then at one point, when I got violated, I told him, I was like, you guys your equipment is really flawed. And I said, the only way for you to know that you have flaws in your system is if you make a mistake and you slip up and you find yourself in the system. Only then will you realize how flawed your system really is. Like, I was feisty. Just because I'm on the other side of this counter does not mean you get to talk to me and treat me any kind of way. I'm not the one. So I ended up that. But like in the meantime, 2018, I got my, it was my birthday, and I had too much to drink, but I had got a DD, and, there's some discrepancy between me and the officer, my arresting officer, even though my arresting officer wasn't the original reporting officer to where I was at. They say I was somewhere, and I was in the passenger seat asleep, but my vehicle, the key was in the ignition. I did have a DD. I woke up in the passenger seat of my car. Yeah, I shouldn't have been drinking. I was currently on probation. I was currently on, I think, probation. Yeah, no, I don't remember exactly. Because I wasn't on house arrest. Maybe I hadn't been sentenced yet. No, I hadn't been sentenced yet. I was still out on bond. And because I wasn't on the breathalyzer. That's the only thing I'm trying, my details aren't, because I remember I was on it. Oh, that's right. He released me off pretrial release, and then I think that was part of my sentencing was to go back on it. Anyway, so I ended up getting another DUI. The messed up part was the officer that actually woke me up. We talked. I had a mental breakdown, and I was just telling him, the reason why I just can't stop drinking, and that if do me a solid, I will get help. I promise I will get help, and I will become better. This was just a slip up and this and that. And I just was hysterical, and I was just telling him about things that, that haunt me at the time, and that I was barely functioning. I was barely fucking hanging on to the edge. I was very honest with him, and he hugged me and stuff. And he said he would tow the car and he would take me home. He was getting ready to take me home, and then the sergeant pulls up and arrests me. So I went in. I was calling him a needle dick, and he must have, I probably said all kinds of things, but I remember at one point, because their chief of police got arrested for a DUI in another county, and, if he would have got, pulled over, if he would have got in trouble, he would have been able to go home if he would have been in our county. So I just was being a smart ass, and I asked him, I said, hey, I heard about your police chief. I said, you're just mad about your police chief. I said, can I get his get out of jail free card? Can we make a deal? I was trying to negotiate a deal the whole way to jail. Obviously, I didn't get one. I just remember I was probably spewing off from there all kinds of stuff about police and my issues with them, and how just probably about the government. I probably started getting into a rant, and I remember a bunch of officers around me. And I remember basically at one point they were telling me to shut up, and I wasn't. And they, manhandled me, stripped me down, threw me in a padded cell, and left me there for however many days. And, kept telling me to, shut the fuck up, because I was hysterical. It was my birth. I was supposed to go see my daughter. My daughter stayed the night at her friend's. So I was supposed to be there in the morning, spend the day with her, and I wasn't. And it was just, I'll never forget. One of the things, like I said, it's really something I had to still working through, is I'll never forget when I finally talked to her on the phone, her cries and screams when she asked me when I was coming home, and I told her I didn't know. I had a 7-day hold because of the other county, and I was just praying to God they did not come get me. But I had a lawyer, and so it got out, and the other judge that was in the first case, he was actually very cool, and he obviously, I was very remorseful. And I ended up getting sentenced to house arrest for both counties. I didn't violate the first one. I did. I got violated, and I went to work release for 4 months with the second one, and 4 months or something like that. And like I had so much anger at that point towards, I was mad at everybody at that point, you know what I mean? And like I did use marijuana as for medical reasons, because I do have, it just helped me not think about the things that I experienced, endured throughout my life. It was the only thing that stopped the emotional pain. And, my back issues, it helped with that. I really feel like that's why I was able to move around and be as physical as I was, and work the 60 to 70 hours a week I was working on my feet, you know what I mean? And I feel like if it fries brain cells, I wouldn't be as smart as I am today. And anyway, so like I said, I just thought I could I know I can outsmart a lot of people, but I'm saying I really thought it back then, and it's like I don't have the intelligence I have now. I used it for bad. Like I got down to a science, like how to beat the urine screens, and then I got cocky and I would like smoke while I'm cleansing. And I had a cool probation officer. She was really super understanding, because she knew the struggles I'd been through. Because when I got sentenced for my second DUI, I got on the stand. I rejected the plea, and I decided to take my chances with the judge sentencing me. And I got on the stand and I stood up for myself, and I told him what my brother did, just why I was drinking. I'm not using it to excuse any behavior. Just what can happen from unrecognized and unheard trauma. And, I didn't hate my daughter. I loved her with my whole heart. That's why I tried to hold on so long, and I just slipped and couldn't. It was like every time I close my eyes, I see their faces, and I just relive it as if it's happening right now. And you can't stop the feelings. And I just remember, I just wish I could go back and hug myself, because I know I'm smarter than the decisions I made. That's the hardest part. And like I said, I just want people to have more grace on themselves and understand the importance of working through your issues, And like I said, the moment that I realized I think I had 3 strikes with my daughter. 3 strikes, I'm out. You know what I mean? And that's when I'm like, took me a while to build her trust back, which I had to let her have that space to feel how she wanted to feel about me, and just show her that I wasn't going nowhere, and I'm not going anywhere. So I'm not going to do anything and I still haven't really touched a drink. I think I've drank twice since 2018. It's just not the same to me. It's just a reminder of some very bad times that I still can't. I'm not coping unhealthily. I got into drugs. I've shot up before. I haven't really told too many people that. with a friend. We started shooting up together, and I just remember I was wearing long sleeves in the summer, and I just remember one day I woke up and I had all these bruises on my arms, and I couldn't live like that anymore, and I just stopped. I disappeared from my parents for a while, and then, disappeared with who I thought was my big cousin. And then she threw that in my face. I was like, a crackhead and this and that. And so I stopped telling people things. I stopped talking. I just stopped a lot of things. And so it's like I knew if I could pull myself, I kept pulling myself out of the holes I dug for myself. And I do feel like we are all stronger than anything that we have allowed ourselves to be, coping unhealthily. We are stronger than all of that. We have to face it first. And just remember, you've already been in pain. You already are hurting. So changing is going to hurt, but it's still going to guide you into so much light that you are, that we are. And like I said, I hope that me sharing my testimony is just proof of what not to do. And again, the importance of working through your issues and, psychological warfare of the ego, and how you need to continue to, work towards not allowing that ego to get too loud. Because once that ego is too loud, God, who knows what can happen. You can talk yourself into doing drugs, and like I said, drugs are man-made. Drugs are not a plant. I'm just going to keep saying that. And I really want people to believe in themselves. And there's a way around and through anything. And like I said, me and law enforcement, we go round and round. And like I got into it with my house arrest officer, because at one point, I'm going to say this and then I'm going to wrap it up, what got me into work release. I was using CBD, and I tested, it was 0.003% for THC. So they threw me in work release. And so I was at the hearing, and the guy, they took my good credit away. So I had to do 30 more days. And I was so pissed, because they told me to come in Monday. So I had a weekend to talk to my daughter about me turning myself in on Monday. They called me Friday. It was like, oh, you need to be up here in an hour. I was so pissed. And she was like, tell me how you're feeling. I was like, how do you think I'm feeling? You ripped me away from my daughter and told me I was coming in Monday. And now you told me to come in today. What's the rush? Y'all don't care about rehabilitation. They don't care about rehabilitation. They just act like it. They chain you to a wall and expect you to bark. And expect you to, like I said, they chain you to a wall, and they don't understand why you're not progressing. And then it's just a lot. Like I said, importance of not getting into it. Yes, I understand that. But again, it shouldn't be so debilitating for when you get out. Do the time, pay your time. Repeat offenders. show the flawed system. And I do know how crime can stop doing itself. That's how much I believe in my mission. Drugs will stop doing themselves. People will stop ODing. And that's all I've got for tonight. I'm going to pause it there. But like I said, me and the law enforcement, we've been going round and round. And not that I don't have respect for the ones that are actually out there trying to make a difference. I got respect for anybody in any industry that's making a difference. I don't have anything against you. I have a problem with people who abuse their authority. Coming for you. That's all I've got for tonight. Until next time. Oh, before I go, I do have this to say. Where is it? Here I go again. I will not conform, reform, or fit in. You can accept me or reject me. Both are welcomed, since it has no bearing on who I am cultivated to be. I allow myself to be shaped by my faith. I will not conform, reform, or fit in. You can accept me or reject me. Both are welcomed, since it has no bearing on who I am cultivated to be. I allow myself to be shaped by my faith. Good night.